Welcome to today's Explainer. So we're diving into some really fun source material today that looks at the natural world as, well, the greatest show on Earth. We're going to completely break down plant anatomy by getting to know the true VIPs that make the whole thing happen. Yeah, it's a super playful take, but honestly, beneath the surface, we're looking at some absolutely incredible, highly efficient biological machinery.
The material actually kicks things off with this fantastic quote from our guide, Sprout. "Welcome to the greatest show on Earth," literally. I love this because it frames plant growth as way more than just basic biology. It's a massively coordinated team effort where every single member has a super specific job. Seriously, if you take out just one piece of this puzzle, the whole operation just totally falls apart.
So it makes you wonder, who exactly is doing all this heavy lifting behind the scenes? Well, to find out, the material asks us to get our hands just a little bit dirty and look right below the surface to meet our very first VIP guest. First up, we've got what the author playfully calls Sir Underground. That's the root system. He's introduced hanging out in fuzzy slippers with a juice box, which, represents the part of the plant just chilling down in the dirt. It's a really amusing, stylized way to look at it, but make no mistake, it highlights what is arguably the single most important foundational job of the entire organism. You see, Sir Underground is actually tackling two incredibly demanding tasks at the exact same time. On one hand, he's acting as these giant anchor ropes, holding everything in place. And simultaneously, he's working as a highly efficient underground straw system, just constantly pulling in resources. Let's look a bit closer at those two roles. First off, those anchor ropes keep the plant completely rock-solid steady against heavy winds and massive storms. Secondly, acting as this vital hydration station, the roots are constantly slurping up water and essential minerals straight from the soil. And I mean, without this constant intake, the entire biological operation would just completely shut down. Building right on top of the roots' hard work, our source material introduces the next VIP, sassy stem. Described as being straight, tall, and proud, the stem basically acts like a giant green elevator, connecting the very base of the plant all the way up to the canopy. This elevator system actually breaks down into two really critical superpowers. First, it's the ultimate delivery highway. It takes all that water pumped up by the roots and pushes it all the way out to the branches, leaves, and flowers. Second, it serves as the literal backbone of the plant. It holds all those leaves up high, ensuring they get the absolute maximum exposure to the sun. Talk about multitasking, right? Moving right along, the material introduces the leaves through this awesome persona called Leafy Larry. He's this laid-back, sun-loving character rocking bright yellow sunglasses. But, despite this super relaxed surfer dude vibe, the leaves are actually doing some of the most complex heavy lifting in all of nature. Seriously, Larry isn't just hanging out, catching rays. The leaves are actually the master chefs of the whole operation. Now, instead of tossing pizza dough or chopping veggies, they are actively synthesizing the very energy that keeps the entire organism alive and growing. And that process, of course, is photosynthesis. It's that absolutely vital biological function where the plant takes sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide and basically mixes them all together. The result? Food for the plant, and as a very fortunate byproduct for the rest of us, fresh oxygen for the world. If we take a peek inside this tiny solar-powered kitchen, the recipe is just incredibly elegant and efficient. Step 1, you take some sunshine. Step 2, add the water that was pumped up from the stem, plus carbon dioxide from the air. Step 3, boom, you convert that mixture into usable sugars to feed the plant. And step 4, release that fresh oxygen back out for all of us humans to breathe. You're welcome, humanity! Finally, we reach the very top of the plant. The source material characterizes the flower as Flora, introducing her as this dazzling, colorful crown jewel of the entire botanical team. But here's the thing. Flora isn't just there for aesthetic appeal. Looking gorgeous is really just a means to an end. The flower is actually executing a highly critical secret mission for the plant's survival, which is reproduction and creating seeds. All those vibrant colors and sweet smells, they act exactly like a massive biological neon sign. They are literally yelling out to local pollinators like bees and butterflies, letting them know, hey, there is free nectar over here if you just come pay a visit. This creates such a vital, beautiful, symbiotic relationship, the true circle of life. The pollinators get a tasty nectar treat, and in return, they unknowingly transport pollen from flower to flower.
This essential exchange is exactly what helps make fruits and new seeds, ensuring that next spring's baby plants can actually grow.
So the source material brings all these VIPs together, the roots, the stems, the leaves, and the flowers, into what it calls an ultimate plant party. And to help you really remember how this entire living team functions together, the author includes this super clever, interactive mnemonic dance at the end. Conceptually, the plant party dance breaks down like this. First, the roots anchor and drink. Next, the stems lift up and pump. Then, the leaves cook right there in the sun. And finally, the flowers smell sweet and make seeds. It's just a really playful, active way to visualize what is, at the end of the day, a highly complex biological machine.
And that actually brings us to the end of our botanical explainer. But, it leaves us with a really fun perspective to consider. Next time you walk past a simple weed on the sidewalk, or say that houseplant on your windowsill, take a second to look a little closer. Beyond just the everyday greenery, there is an invisible, hyper-efficient factory working around the clock right in front of you. So which VIP will you spot first? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep exploring.